You are live in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, this is John Townsend. Welcome to the Dr. Townsend Live program. We're here every week on a bunch of places: YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, something else. And we spend an hour with you where we basically answer questions about life, relationships, dating, marriage, parenting, your own parents, leadership, emotional issues, business, there's a lot of stuff, personal issues, spiritual stuff, but kind of like that life is challenging in all sorts of areas. If you ever talk to a person who says, I've got no challenges, you know what that means. It means they are the challenge, because we all have challenges. So the format is simple. We've got a great community here. You just call in, and we don't see your face, we see my mug, but we hear your voice and we talk about an issue, try to solve it, try to give you a great answer that's practical, that you can do, that actually gets to the core of the issue, and not just sort of a, hey, stop doing that kind of thing. And we try to make that helpful. And if you can't get on the phone part, we got an 800 number, and Stacy, our great producer, is going to throw that up there. Then just text where you are, and you can text on Facebook or LI or whatever, and we'll read the question. Now, that's not preferable because I can't talk to you. And hey, I'm in my office by myself, I get along, so I don't like to just answer that, but I will. Happy to do it if you want to do it by text. So let me introduce you to our producer, Stacy, and say hi to these nice folks.
Hi, everyone. Stacy here. Thanks so much for being with us on the Dr. Townsend Live Show today. If you're with us via Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, you are viewing this show, and you probably already see that there is a 1-800 number that you can call for the show. But for listeners, I will go ahead and give that number to you again. Just one moment. Your producer is having some technical challenges today. So that number is 1-877-853-5257. And then you're going to enter meeting ID number 876-5437-2012. Once you do that, you'll enter the waiting room. And as soon as your call is selected, I will put you through to John. And we would like to know, when you go through with John, we let him know your first name only and where you are calling us from. So let's go ahead and get those calls coming in for John today. We are here to help, and we're so glad that you're with us today.
Thank you, Stacy. And if you are on our email list, you know, you get, I send out different email videos, kind of free little things with information that people like to kind of say, oh, I only got a minute or two about this concept, and we do a ton of those. And we did one recently, might have been today. I mean, we did it last week, but it's out now. And it was on a topic called toxic dependency. Toxic dependency. And that might be a word, if you're not around the counseling, psyche, personal growth community, you might say, what in the world does that mean? It's a really, really important thing, and it might apply to you. And it has to do with having a relationship in which you're putting up with stuff that you do not need to put up with. And you're kind of like, why am I doing this? You know, why do I keep putting up with this? Why do I allow being someone judging me, never being enough for them, criticizing me, shutting down for me, withdrawing? And the toxic part is bad. It's bad for you. It makes you feel bad. The relationship goes bad. You don't like you or them, or you feel sad and upset and disconnected. And the dependency part has to do with the why. Like, why would I keep coming back to this? You know, the Bible talks about how the dog returns to his vomit. Now, if you're having lunch while you're watching the show, sorry about that, but it's a great metaphor. It's very visual about how we return to bad things somehow. So I don't want to make the dependent part the bad thing, because dependency is good. We need to depend on our friends and depend on our family and depends on people to get us through. Toxic dependency. Oh, I know somebody's coming on. I'll get to you in just a second, and I'm going to finish this thought and get right to you. Toxic dependency is when I go back for the wrong reasons. Like, I'm trying to make someone love me, and I'm kind of compulsively not saying they don't and let it go. Or because there's something about me that is attracted to the bad girl or the bad boy, And because there's something in me that wants that. And it's very important to understand where your toxic dependency comes from, because then you can say, I don't need this anymore. I can go over here and I'm not going to return to another person who are just like that. It's a big, big, big issue. And the email, the video tells you things about it. And somebody's on here, and hello.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for taking the call. So this is kind of, I can ask anything on my mind, I hope. I've not done this before, but
talk to your mind, we need to hear from your mouth. What is your name?
Okay.
And where are you in the world?
My name is Natalie, and I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Natalie in Dallas. Natalie, I'm a little intrigued. Nobody's ever said that. Like, can I talk about anything? Let me tell you the parameters. You can't talk about anything. Like, you can't talk about something that I know nothing about. If you say, how do I fix my plumbing under my sink?
Yeah.
But if it's a personal issue, a deep issue, a tough issue, I think everything else we can handle. So go ahead, Natalie. What's your question?
Okay. So I'm in counseling right now. I have been married for 15 years, and we've had our issues we've gone through. We've moved across the country to pursue seminary and moved away from family. This was many years ago, and we've had our issues in marriage, and some of those being, well, I guess, I don't know, I don't want to say too much, being issues that shouldn't have happened, that we were not healthy enough probably to come to seminary for. But just a lot of hardship in seminary is, often happens in the ministry now. And I have, my mother came down with cancer in the fall, and she's far away. And so I'm just, I didn't know that we'd come out here permanently. That wasn't a plan. And there's been just so much hardship and betrayal and just hard things in marriage. And so where I'm at right now is, I feel like I have in my past struggled with OCD, and I really feel stuck right now on regret. And to move forward in my marriage, we are in counseling now, and my husband does seem repentant and want to change. And so to get the marriage stuff fixed, but I just feel so wounded about things that have happened in my marriage. And then also, I think there were always cracks in the foundation, but my mom getting sick really kind of blew the top off of stuff I was stuffing for many years. And so I guess I go back and forth with thinking, like, is this savable, or
what's the marriage?
Yes.
Okay.
And not just
here's
that,
what I want you to do. Ask the one question that's the most important to you, because I want to answer one good question well.
Okay. I guess with this level of regret, is there a possibility of moving past just feeling so stuck, that feeling like, in counseling, they want you to move forward and look at the future, but I feel like I'm just stuck on, I wouldn't even be in this much pain if I'd done this differently, or made this choice. And so I do think there's a lot to forgive on the marriage side, but I also think that I'm just so stuck on regret that I really feel like even if my husband were to stand on his head and do everything I ask, I don't know if I'm capable of forgiving, but I know that we're supposed to be. I'm just really confused, because I've heard a lot of bad and good teaching on forgiveness. So I guess my question is a little bit about forgiveness, a little bit about regret, is that, is there ever too much damage done or too much hurt incurred that it's not possible, I guess?
No. It's always possible, given four factors determine this. And I'll just tell you them so you'll know them, you'll have them in your head, but I want to go to another place in your question in a second. The first thing is how severe the problem was. And you said there's lots of betrayal, and that's always a huge, huge thing. So how severe the problem is going to factor how long it's going to take. The second thing is how severe it was. Somebody that loses their binky at 20 years old versus somebody who was abused at 3, it's going to be a whole different area of healing. And so how early it is, how severe it is, those are the first two. The third one is what your resources are. I mean, I work sometimes with like missionaries who are in a developing country and they've all got is they get one Zoom a month. Well, that's not very much resource. You are in another area, and the DFW has got lots of good people. So you've got the resource. You guys are on the counseling. And the fourth one is the hunger to stick with it and do the task and that sort of thing. So I've never seen anybody who took those four and had those four that couldn't make substantial process. Now, you kind of said something I thought was really important, I think, in your situation now. You said, he could stand on his head. He's coming. He's listening. He's repenting. He's sorry. He's changing. And you said, but there's another part of me that can't let go of this stuff. That's so important because you've just changed it from it's all him. A lot of it's him, but you change it for it's 100% him, and he's got to do everything right, and then I'll be okay. And you're saying, no, there's something in Natalie's head. I'm really wounded. You with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want to talk to you about what's involved in your part. I like what I'm hearing about y'all and counseling. He's kind of getting the lights are coming on, it's changing. But I think you're really wounded, and I think you're aware that you're really wounded. And it's not just forgiving. See, we sometimes say, if I forgive, I'll be fine. It's forgiving and healing. It's forgiving and healing. Forgiveness doesn't heal anybody. It opens the door to the healing. When a person says, we know what the Bible says about forgiveness. It means canceling a debt. When I cancel the debt and just say, I can't just kind of keep blaming you for this. My job is my own recovery. Then that means, what have I got to do? And in your situation, since I heard about the betrayal thing, there's generally two things I want you to work on in your counseling. Do you have individual counseling, or is all your counseling marital?
Well, we started with marital. It's really hard to find marital. We'd seen one for several years, and I realized that a lot of the counsel he was giving during those years of schooling wasn't.
It's hard to find a counselor helpful. In Dallas.
No, well, we were really low budget, like in our seminary years.
So it's financial then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we are seeing someone now, and the one and that's part of it. The woman I'm seeing now, I think she's going to take the EMDR route, probably. But yeah.
There's some good things about it. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
It doesn't do everything. It's good for some traumas, but
right.
What happens that I want you to camp on with her, if you like her, think she's competent, because if she's got a license, she knows a lot of other things besides the EMDR. If all they have in their toolkit is EMDR, that's a problem. But if she's got other tools,
right.
One of them is trust, because trust gets demolished in infidelity, totally demolished.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to relearn trust by talking about the feelings, feeling them, expressing them, learning that there are trustworthy people out there, and kind of, we call it internalizing safe attachment. As you do that in your therapy and with your safe people, with God, you begin to fix that broken trust muscle. The other one is having a voice, being able to say, no, this is not okay with me. And it's called all the boundary stuff that Henry Cloud and I talked about. Go to her and say, I'm stuck and I need to move ahead and learning how to trust again, because I don't trust him and I don't trust kind of anybody. I've been demolished that way. Got to fix that muscle, and I want to get my voice and see what happens. Natalie, thanks for the call.
Thank you so much.
All right. If you've ever been betrayed, life goes upside down and you get really wounded. And the whole thing is, forgiveness is never said to be the thing that heals us. It opens the door. It's a necessary thing. The science says it, the Bible says it, but forgiveness is the way to say, I'm not mad at you anymore. I'm going to make you the problem. I've got a problem too. I'm canceling the debt. Now get to work on my own growth. That's really what it's for. Hey, nice to see somebody's phone icon, and hello, and what's your name, and where are you in the world?
Hi, my name is Mary, and I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you very well in the car.
Where are you in the world?
Oh, I'm in New York.
Oh, well, welcome. And what's your question, Mary?
I saw your email, and you were talking about dependency, and I think that sometimes, after staying home and raising children, that I've fallen into that category. And you know, I think I've had some trouble trying to just branch out would be a good word, into the world, into finding a career path that
So your world's
a
a
good fit for
little
me.
your world's a little too small right now with all the time with the kiddos, and there's another party that says I got to get out in the community, get a job, these sorts of things. Yeah.
Well, you know, my kiddos are now, let's see, going to be 18 and, you know, 18, 17, and 16. You know, and with the pandemic, it kind of, you know, made things a little,
Yeah.
you know, different, because it's almost like some things got, what's the word I'm looking for, stopped developmentally.
Well,
You
yeah.
know, for a while there.
What COVID did, I think, more than anything, Mary, is in the families, is it interrupted the launching process. So somebody that's 18 and 16 can't really get out of the launching, and they're functioning at about 12 and 14. So it's a big problem. So I get that. What's your question for us?
Well, I guess, you know, I'm sorry, I missed listening to other people. Is that how do I determine, you know, that I'm being dependent? You know, I'd like to be able to contribute to the income in my family.
Well, wait a minute.
I guess how do I?
People are saying you're dependent, or you know you're dependent? Because sometimes people are wrong. So where are you hearing this? In your head or for other people?
You know, I guess in my head, I guess I feel that way, that I am.
Is it financially dependent?
Like,
Or are you saying, well, I'm too dependent on my spouse? Or do you mean emotionally dependent? They're very, very different.
I think both. I think having, you know, I had a career, I gave it up to stay home and have kids, and I think that was a really big deal for me.
Well,
and
there's both.
You know,
Here's the easy answer, Mary, is we solve one, which will then cascade to solving the other. So if that I'm being dependent, we solve the emotional dependence, and most of the time when you solve that, the financial gets taken care of, because you become what we would call autonomous. Autonomy is the opposite of dependency. So here's the question: who put that thought in your head? Where did that come from? That didn't come from a vacuum. Who told you that you were an emotionally dependent person?
I think I can be. You know, I sometimes, unfortunately, my mother has, you know, succumbed to addiction, and you know, I grew up with it, and you know, you were never allowed to have feelings in your home. So then you get to be an adult, and things start to ooze out from the seams, and
Yeah.
you know, I've been trying to find my way, and
children that have an addicted parent often learn that my job is to take care of somebody that should be taking care of me. Here I am 7, and I've got to be acting like I'm 30 because this person is so non-functioning, they're chaotic, they're dependent on me. So I've got to be compliant, think about them more than think about myself, and you kind of lose your life. That's a very, very important thing to understand about being the child of an addict.
I think that's where I struggle now, having stayed home with the kids. Now that they're older, I want to do more than, you know, I worked in the schools for a while to kind of try to balance the home life. But, you know, I think at times for me it felt like a burden, and it was all on my shoulders, just like kind of growing up. And that, you know, I want to have something for myself now, but I'm not quite sure what that is.
Okay, well, I'm not sure, Mary. And people say I don't know what it is. Sometimes it's, most of the time it's more, I have some anxiety about even doing it, because you sound smart, and all you got to do is fill out a form, and you'll find out if you should be a rock star or a sculptor. I mean, that's not that kind of problem. The problem is I start and stop, I get involved in the process, then I get busy, I get afraid, I don't want to screw up. And that keeps me from finding out what I want to do. So when you think about, hey, the kids are older, they're more autonomous, I got some time and I can go out and do something, I enjoy working. What stops you from getting out there and figuring this out? There's a conflict and an anxiety that stops you.
Well, I guess I have a lot of doubt. I don't know which direction to choose. I wonder, you know, my son is interested in the sport. Should I support him more doing that until he has his own car and is able to take himself there. You know, I'm kind of like in this limbo kind of place, purgatory. You know.
No, you're right. You have what we would call technically, Mary, an individuation problem. Individuation means I didn't develop, you used the word development very well a few minutes ago. I didn't get the developmental advantage with my addicted mother to go, this is Mary. I like red, I hate green. I like spaghetti, I hate broccoli. You didn't get a chance to do that. You learn how to take care of, be responsible. But what about the Mary part? I think like a movie. Oh yeah, what about Mary? Not about that. And so you never got to individuate. So that's what you got to work on. For us to say, well, here's what you ought to do with your son is this or that. I think that you ought to just figure that out with your husband as best you can, because you have if I were in your shoes, I'd be going, I need to find out what I like and what I don't like and who I am. And so have you ever heard of the book Boundaries?
Yes, I have read it. It's been a number of years, but I've read that one and Boundaries in Marriage and Boundaries in Teenagers.
Boundaries in Marriage is not about that, but I want you to reread because sometimes we come to these, what we would call inflection points in life. You know, as life goes on, we go, I can really read it this time. And I've got new eyes because I don't want to just be bouncing around taking care of my mother and everybody else. It's not symbolically. I want to have my own thing. So is your mom still alive?
She is, but I'm not really in contact with them because my father, I've learned, is very codependent, and he would do this thing where he would tell me to go make it right with your mother, even though I didn't do anything wrong. And my mother,
so wrong. Yeah. Okay. Mary, did you ever have a chance? Now I'm hearing about your father. I could see so much of the problem there. He was codependent and he sacrificed you for her. Have you ever had a chance to have the conversation with your mom that you needed to have?
No, anytime I would try to talk to her, she interpreted it as an attack or a threat.
All right. Here, I got two assignments for you. One is get the book and reread it again and kind of go with new eyes, right? But I want to do a little role play with you now. And a role play is I want you to be your mom. And I'm going to give you the first step into individuation. You be your victim-y mom who's blaming you, and I'll be the healthy Mary. I'm going to show you how to do this. And this is not about you doing it in real life, because maybe she's too dysfunctional, maybe your dad won't let it. And you'll get better. You'll get more individuated just having this experience here. This will be your launcher thing. This is not practice for a conversation with a dysfunctional, crazy person who doesn't want to hear it. You understand?
Yes.
This is for your growth. All right. So I'll be you. And you be and do all the victim-y stuff mom does, and we'll see where it goes. You ready?
Yes.
Mom, I just want to tell you, it was hard growing up, and lots of things happened, and I never got to tell you.
How dare you talk to me like that? What are you? I was an excellent mother. How dare you? How dare you even speak of me like that?
It's an important conversation, and I would love to own my part, but
no, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. She wouldn't even say I'm so sorry. How dare you attack me and berate me like this? I'm going to hang up now.
Okay. All right. Does she respond? She's picked to me. Does she respond by email or anything else, or just phone, Mary?
She would do the same thing in an email.
All right.
But I had to learn my part.
Whoa. We're gonna. I'm kind of running out of time. I don't want to do a good job here, please. So here's what I want you to do. Leave her as crazy as she is, but don't let her hang up on you, because then that stops everything and it's bad. It's boring. So this isn't about her. You just do her stuff, and I'm going to say some things, and you're going to respond to them, and I'm going to show you how to handle them. So, because this is about empowering Mary. So don't hang up. Just stay crazy. All right?
Okay.
Oh, we're back in.
But
You're
that's what
channeling
she
her
does.
again.
But,
What?
okay. But that's what she does. But I'll stay with
I
you.
know, but this is fantasy. She will do that. But I'm just saying, this is so you can get your voice. We're giving Mary a voice now. So don't let her hang up.
Okay.
Don't
Okay.
hang up, Mom. Okay. Anyway, Mom,
Okay.
I do want to talk about something important to make our relationship better. You got a minute?
Okay.
Okay. I do love you. You are my mom. A lot of good things that you are, and I appreciate it. And you know, I always want the best for you. But I never got to tell you that it was really hard when your addiction was in full swing, and I felt like I lost my childhood responding to you, reacting to you, taking care of you.
I don't know what you're talking about. Are you accusing me of a problem?
Of a problem? Is that what you said?
Yeah. How dare you accuse me of having a problem?
Oh, you don't think you were an addict, Mom?
How dare you insult me and my family in that way?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought that you knew that. All right. Well, we see it differently. But some of the things you did, like not listening to me, like kind of like what you're doing right now, were just hard on me. And I've forgiven you and I'm healing. But I want a better relationship.
I did the best I could as a mother. Your father. You know what I had to put up with your father, and your brother. You know what I've had to tolerate.
Okay. Mom, can you listen to me and like care about what I'm saying before you start defending? Is that doable? I need that.
Not with the accusations that you make against me. Absolutely not.
Okay. Is there anything we can do where I can take responsibility for my parts that you can hear me say my part to you, or is that just you don't think I should say anything to you about how you mothered? You don't want that at all? Do I understand that right?
I did the best I could.
Okay.
I've given you children everything that I could possibly give you.
Okay.
I was a good mother.
Okay. Mom, I think you tried. I think you really did make some big mistakes with me. I know you don't see it that way, but I want to let you know I care about you. And even though you don't think you need me to heal and forgive, I am doing that. So have a nice day.
Bye-bye now.
All right, Mary, she's tough.
Yeah.
But I wanted you to see how somebody handles a victim that they're attached to, so that it's not about you calling her, like I said. Now you can start thinking as you're reading the book, where am I? Where's my no? Where's my yes? Where's my passion? Where's my direction? The more we can separate from a victim parent and kind of get rid of that, your head will get full of, oh, I like sports, or I like drama, or I like engineering. So get the book and you're on the way. And that was a good job. You did a very good job of that. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Guys, she is so right on. Do you know the hardest person to confront is not a mean, nasty, attacking person? I mean, that's not fun. I mean, somebody comes at you with a Uzi or a machete. That's no fun. But the victim-y person is the worst, because you don't know where the bad guy is. Am I being mean? Am I being unloving? Am I the bad guy? So confusing. That's why Mary's got to get to work on the boundaries. Hi, somebody's on the line, and hello and all that. What's your name?
Caller, are you with us? You're live. Oh, there she is.
I'm a little nervous. Oh my God. So my question is.
No, before we do that, we say, what's your first name and where are you in the world? Oh. And then you become our friend.
Okay, my name is Christina, and I'm from New York.
Hi, Christina. All right. And you had a question. Let's go.
Okay. So I'm 45 years old, and I still have issues with people that drink and are alcoholics, and I'm trying to, sorry, I'm so nervous, be more loving towards them, but I'm finding that I'm very angry. So I'm kind of stuck.
Okay. So what's the question?
So my question is, how do I deal with them in a more loving way instead of, I think that sometimes what was happening is that when they were drinking and they were saying things, I would not address it, obviously, when they were drinking, and then address it later and be so rageful.
Christine, are you sure that's all there is? For somebody to kind of like, don't sound like a mean, mad person. For you to get mad when somebody's having a drink, it sounds like it could have come from something besides social people that say stupid things. Is there some earlier bad stuff that happened with drinking when you were younger?
Yes. My dad was an alcoholic, and when my parents got divorced, my mom married someone who was worse than he was as far as alcoholism.
Oh my gosh.
And I just kind of felt like, and I'm just realizing it now, is that she didn't really protect us from, even though it wasn't physical abuse, the emotional abuse that would occur when they were drinking.
Are you in counseling? Because that's pretty insightful.
I am. I'm a social worker.
Okay, so you know how this goes and how the adultified child around an alcoholic situation begins to see that, and then when they have a parent that's passive and allows it to be toxic the second time, what that does to you. I mean, you understand the damage.
I do, and I think sometimes it's like I have all this head knowledge, but putting it into practice for myself is like a whole nother thing. I can tell people what to do. I just can't take my own advice. It's kind of what I'm going through.
All right. What have you dealt with, since you're in our world? Have you dealt with this directly about why I can't stop being mad at drinking people? Have you dealt with that in therapy yet directly?
No.
Okay. Why would that be? It's important to you. It bothers you.
I think this was a season of my life as like I'm working full time. I have 2 kids and there's so much going on that I was putting myself on the back burner and thinking God's going to help me through this. I'm just going to pray and his insight's going to help guide me because I'm just so busy. So
that's understandable. And we put ourselves on the back burner, and then when life gets better, we say, hey, I've got stuff I want to work on. Right? That's the way it works. All right. One of the things, I mean, since you're already in that world, therapy would be helpful, but let me just kind of explain part of the dynamic, because I don't want to say therapy, like we can't help here in the show. We can help. When a person has a behavior that people do, it could be a loud voice, it could be alcohol, who knows, and they have a hard time staying connected and open and caring about people because they're doing that triggery kind of thing. Basically, it has to do with a problem of what is called delayed bereavement. Delayed bereavement, meaning I haven't had the time or opportunity to feel the grief that 3 people let me down. Me, Christina.
Yeah.
A dad who was an alcoholic, a mom who didn't protect me, and then a stepfather was alcoholic. And it's so sad that alcohol is in the middle of that. And I hate it. I hate what happened to me. And I'm sad about it. Now, what people need to do when that happens, if that's the kind of scenario, that's how you begin. Your social friends who are drinking, then it won't bother you because you start to realize that's where it came from, is you've got to be able to express, again, like we did the last call, Mary, this is not about talking to your mom. This is about somebody that's kind, a friend, a parish, a priest, a good pastoral counselor, a shrink. How much they hurt you, those 3 people. I'm thinking especially maybe mom, because she kind of let it all happen watching that. But express how much that hurt you, and then forgive, and then learn how to have your own self-protective devices. First, you got to express it was bad, it was awful, and I have these feelings about it. Just kind of be messy about it. Get it out there in a relationship. The second thing is, I got to forgive. We're all supposed to forgive. But the third thing is, I don't need to have people not drink to protect me because I've got great boundaries. I can say no. I can be separate from that. And then you're okay. I just took a good 6 months to a year of kind of working on this for our purposes, Christina. But those are the steps. It's when you can look at them once you've done the work I just said and go, oh, Susie's drinking. I'm not going to drink because it kind of wrecked my life. But she's a nice person. I can separate this because I can take care of myself. That's the path. And good luck with that, Christina.
Thank you so much.
You betcha. You betcha. You know, when you think you got a problem today and you wonder why it's not going away, there's probably something back then. If you can solve your problems right now, like if I don't know, if I get a tick in my head and then I realize, oh, I just was stressed last night. Okay, the tick went away. Then I don't need to go in the past. But if you do all these things like, you know, change your thoughts, change your attitudes, and it still doesn't go away, you better go in the past because something is driving that. That's a lot stronger than the everyday. That's why the past is so important. That's why I like that Christine and Mary kind of nailed what was going on. Then we come up with solutions to help the present. Hey, if you want a better future, speaking of time periods, come to the Townsend Institute. We have hundreds and hundreds of students now. We're slated to have 1,000 in the next 2 years. It's just really exploding. And the cool thing is, our students now, it's a graduate program. We're fully accredited in 3 programs. You can get a certificate or a master's or a doctorate in counseling. You can be your own shrink. Or you can get a certificate or a master's in organizational leadership if you run a business, if you want to run your own entrepreneurial thing, you want to work in the family business, if you work in the corporate world, church, whatever, organizational leadership certificate or master's. Or you get your certificate or master's in executive coaching consulting. It's our newest master's because of how interested people are in becoming coaches and what a great career it is. Right now, the cool thing is that we've been around a few years, long enough to get field reports on how people's jobs are, and people are getting great reports. Their bosses, their supervisors are reaching out to us and saying, your graduate in counseling or leadership or coaching is at the top with our people who went to residential programs, live-in programs, campus programs. You guys are online, but you're putting out people at that level. So that's kind of the whole idea. Can you get a fulfilling next part of your life job with an accredited online degree and the kind of stuff we're talking about here? It's all there. So we have these sessions where I just show up and people come from all around the world and our top staff. We just answer questions about the program. And just get and Stacy's going to send a link and what the next we call the information session. I'm there answering questions and still there. Get a lot more information that way. But August 13th, I think it is our next matriculation of our new students. And that's a month from today. So you got to get your stuff in soon, but go to the info session, get information. But we're going to have a ton of students come out, lots of speakers. And if this is your time, this is your time. Okay.
Okay, John, you have a question from, well, let me get back to her name here. I'm telling you, the tech gremlins are being crazy today with the internet. I think it's going on everywhere. I'm hearing many people say that their internet is just crashing all the time and slow, and that's because so many more people are working from home, right? Okay, so your question is coming from Sherilyn on Facebook, and she is saying, how do you respond when a partner is more willing to engage in check the box compliance instead of character development change?
If your partner is more interested in check the box compliance than internal real character change, which Cheryl, I think you must be reading the books or going to the institute or something because you're asking the right question. Who wants a spouse that just says, it's 3 o'clock. I love you and I was thinking about you today. I will say the same thing at 4 o'clock. Oh, joy. I just can't wait to snuggle up to that person. That's wrong. So checking the box never did anything. I mean, it's better than yelling and screaming, but it's not good. Let me take you down. If you've been watching the show, Cheryl, you know they got these 4 levels of severity. And I'll take you down to the 4 because that kind of question lends itself to that. There's normal, which is that there's no issue, and that's not what we're calling that. But some people don't have that issue. Then there's mild, moderate, severe. There's normal, mild, moderate, severe. Like I've got no fever, I've got a mild fever, moderate, severe. And let's just take it down. Let's assume, hubby, I'll start with mild, because it's always better to start with mild, because you got to give people the benefit of the doubt, and who wants to be guilty until proven innocent? So start with mild, and it would be to come there to them vulnerably. Mild always means vulnerably, where you say, I do appreciate that you are showing signs that you care. It means a lot. And I know you're trying, but I want you to know at the same time that I need you to look at you, not in a blaming way. I've got a caller coming through, but we'll get to you guys. I need you to be able to feel with me, think with me, work on your issues. And so do you mind what if we read a book together about growth? Like we can read, one of Townsend's books, Hiding from Love, or How People Grow, or something. And let's read a chapter a night and talk about that. And some people, the spouse will go, great idea, I like the information, discuss these. If they're moderate and they say, I don't want to do that, then you say, okay, I get it. And in a vulnerable tone, you say, sweetheart, I'm lonely. I'm just lonely. You're my first choice, and I wanted to spend all my life with you. And I don't see the connection or the attempt to it. It's really hard, and I'm sad, and I really miss what I thought we had. And I'll do anything to get that back. And maybe we can get some help. And a lot of times a moderate person will go, I didn't know it was that bad. And then you go get some marital counseling. Because a person that is moderate probably going to need counseling, not a book. If they're severe, then you say, I'm lonely. I know you're checking the boxes, but it's like you're just doing it so I won't be mad at you. And I'm not into that kind of compliance. I don't want to be your mom. I just want a great husband. And I'm going to go to marital counseling, and I want you to go. And if you don't go, I'll go by myself. So me and the marital counselor will talk about you and me, our marriage, and come up with strategies to help do that better. I'd love for you to be there. And there are some spouses that'll go, well, heck, I better be there. You're talking about me. And that's great. You get them on the operating table and things happen. Or some of them just go, forget it. I'll be in the wood shop, or I'll be watching TV. I'm not going. And then you work with a marital counselor on how to, be the healthiest person you can, because then when you're healthier, you have less of a dependency on somebody that doesn't have anything to give you. B, how to love them in good ways so you're not punishing them. And C, how to set the boundaries of, sometimes a spouse has to say, you don't even talk to me, and it's just TV and food, and that's it. And so I get it that I'm not perfect, but I'm working on myself. But I may have to go out three, 4 times a week with the gals just to get people to talk to me. You're my first choice. You're my first choice. But I can't live in isolation. And then they might have to do without something they want. See, sometimes a disconnected spouse wants you to be present. They kind of like having the warm, nice body there of somebody who's kind and ask them questions, and they can just kind of sit there. Well, that doesn't work. So you have to say that might be going away until you want to relate to me. Hope that helps, Shirley. So anyway, we got a caller, and hello.
Yep. Caller, you're live with Dr. Townsend. Tell us your first name and where you're calling from.
Hey, Dr. Townsend. This is Nathan from Rayford. We had talked twice before.
Hi, Nathan. Good to hear from you.
Yeah.
What's your question, buddy?
Thank you for all the advice that you have provided me in the past. Really appreciate it. And also your book, Boundaries. Really appreciate the resource.
Thank you.
My question has to do with, I guess, forgiveness and bitterness, things in the past that upset me in relationships, my faults and also the other party's fault. I find myself throughout the day, just regularly replaying these events and becoming angry at the person again. And I don't think that's very healthy. And I tell myself, hey, I forgive, this person's forgiven, and I let it go. And then, the very next day, I'll just catch myself in this cycle, just thinking about this stuff and getting really upset at the person. So my question is, how do I let go? How do I let that bitterness go so that way I can be healthier for the relationships I'm in now and for my family?
It's a big issue, Nathan. Did you just come on, or have you heard the show since the beginning today?
I just came on.
It's really interesting that happened, because someone had almost the identical question to you, that gosh,
Okay.
I've forgiven, but I'm still having these thoughts and these feelings, and they're driving me crazy. So, as you know, this show is recorded. I'm going to talk to you, the Nathan person, but after the show, just hit the recording and you can see what I said to them too. All right.
Okay.
But don't go away. Don't go away. I want to talk to you. All right.
Okay.
Can you say who these people are? I mean, it's not humanity. Is it 2 people, 3 people, 20 people? Who are these people that it's kind of hard to like move away from?
Well, I did have a former roommate, friend from high school, and his wife, and then I was crying, and then I guess my former girlfriend, we now talk as friends and still share laughter, but I found myself upset about the arguments we had and the things that created conflict in our relationship. I still go back to those things and get upset about them. It's really just those 3 right there. Hello? Dr. Townsend?
There you are. You're back. You cut out for just a moment. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I cut. I'm sorry, Nathan. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Stacy identified there's a tech gremlin problem. Okay. What I asked was if you got to choose between the couple that you had living with that left or the ex-girlfriend, which one bothers your head the most these days? Which one do you can't let go of the most?
The couple.
Okay. I remember they were tough. I mean, they didn't appreciate what you were giving them and let them stay with you. All right. And name one thought that comes to your head when you don't, it's called intrusive thoughts. You're just kind of mowing the lawn or watching TV and in comes this thought. What's the thought that comes in? Or one, maybe there's 20, but just kind of the one that comes in.
I guess one, for example, is an argument I had with his wife, where she, was charging him, I guess, $300 a month for rent, and she told me that wasn't even like a very good deal. I guess it was just a moment where she was upset, but it's actually an extremely good deal.
So
doesn't
when
even
she
cover
said
utilities.
that's not a good deal, is that when you started feeling mad and kind of abused and misunderstood when she said that?
It was happening well before that, but that was something that added to it. Yeah.
What was the thing that was a bigger thing than that added to it? There was something larger before that then.
I don't know. I guess conversations we were having before, they wanted to have, I guess the big thing, yeah, now that I think about it, they wanted to have chickens, and I was okay with it outside. And
they
then
want to have chickens in your residence.
Yeah, in the yard. I was okay with it in the yard. And then they came back after Christmas break with little chicks and brought them into their bedroom, and didn't really ask about any of it beforehand. And I realized I'm horrible at conflict resolution and just being direct. So I just, didn't say anything. I was just okay, well, this is what it is. And then brought it up that it upset me later, and then it just created more upset and conflict.
So they kind of took advantage of you being a nice guy, and you brought it up, and they throw it back in your face instead of saying, we're sorry, we took advantage of you. They sound kind of entitled, and it's never resolved to a point where they've apologized, changed or anything. They're kind of gone, and the hurt is still there, but these people are gone. Do I have that?
Yeah, they're gone now. They moved out about a year ago.
Okay. Let's leave it with that. Let's work with that. That's good. Good grist for the mill for us to get something done, because there's a couple of things that help us when we can't go beyond forgiving someone. You see, forgiveness doesn't fix everything. The Bible talks about forgiveness all the time, but it never says it'll totally heal you. Forgiveness opens the door to you getting the healing you need. And what's involved is, I'm just going to give you 2 or 3 things. One is you've got to express your voice emotionally when you're hurt like that. You've got to say to somebody that cares about you how pissed off you are, and how violated you feel, you've got to say that to a safe person. It's got to come out of your mouth into somebody who cares about you, not them. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you getting it out of your head. Number two, you got to, I hate to say it, but it's true. You're going to have to feel sad and mourn it and grieve it. Be sad, mourn and grieve it, because they hurt you and it wasn't fair, and that's the sad thing. So you get your anger processed out first, then you move into grief, which is, I'm a nice guy. They took advantage of me. That's so sad. We've gone from I'm really mad, it was wrong, which is okay in that stage, into what a bummer. I had a big loss. I thought they were my friends. And the third thing you got to do is you replace them. It's in an adaptation. You got to find people that are kind. Maybe you wanted friends. Maybe that's why you let them in, or maybe you wanted a family. But we would take people in to our homes sometimes because we want a family, and you've got to find some replacement. Now, if you, I remember this a few months ago when you were talking about this, and you said, I'm so conflict avoidant. I want you to take a little risk with me. Are you willing to take a little, let's call it a growth risk?
Yes.
Right. As best you can, I'll be them. And they called you and they said, we understand we've hurt you. We've had a lot of therapy. We know we need to hear your day in court. And they want to hear how bad you treated them. And they're not going to defend. They're not going to blow up at you. They're not going to do anything. They're ready to hear it because they're healthy now. What would you want to tell them, Nathan?
I guess I tell them, I hope they're doing well. It didn't work out staying here. We definitely have different lifestyles, and the house isn't that big, so it was kind of hard to have space as well. And I think there was a lot of miscommunications. And I myself learned a lot about, conflict and being direct and expressing that, which is a challenge for me. I'm glad I, learned it here rather than learning it with a spouse, where it, that could have been extremely, extremely difficult. But at the end of the day, I do think I helped you guys out, gave you a place to stay for, 8-9 months. And when things were really not going well, I did sit you guys down at the kitchen table and said exactly what I was upset about and what needed to change. And that stuff didn't change. So after that, I kind of made a decision that you guys had to leave. But I gave you 6 months to leave. And then in that time, my buddy went and did the Appalachian Trail with his wife, still at the place, which was,
Okay, Nathan, so far, so good. But we've got a missing piece here. And I'll do that missing piece because I think this was hard for you. You were good at kind of explaining the dynamics of events. Here's the Nathan that I want you to work on. Thanks for showing up, guys. Thanks for being honest about it. I'm still really mad at you. You really made me miserable. You hurt my feelings. You betrayed me. You were deceptive. And it took a year for you to finally get your head together and come back. I'm glad of that. But I got to be honest. It was awful. And I was enraged and hurt by you. It's better now that you're here. But I got to tell you, I didn't like it and it made me mad. You don't have to do that now, Nathan. I kind of wanted to add that piece because you got to regain your ability to talk about anger in an adult way so that you can start having conflicts, so you can nip things like this in the bud. But the reason you called was you want to get these people out of your head that you can't let go of. I just gave you a little tool, but I want you to get comfortable with your anger. God gave us anger for a good reason. I want you to begin to let go and feel sad. I want you to replace those people with healthy people. That's the homework assignment. Okay.
Okay.
All right, man. Thanks for calling, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Doc.
All right. Have you ever wondered, guys, why we keep those conversations in our head at 3 a.m.? Why didn't I say that? I've had that with a guy that beat me up when I was 6 years old, kind of repetitively, because he was a lot bigger and I was his best friend. I picked him because I wanted to be around a bigger guy, but it wasn't helpful to me. And I remember thinking about it for decades until I thought, I'm ruining my life. So I did my work. I didn't call him. I don't know where he is in the world. God bless him. But I worked on getting mad, getting sad, forgiving, and replacing it. And it went away. I haven't thought about him until I just talked to Nathan. It's been years since he even came in my head. That's how it works. Okay, Stacey, well, we got time for something or nothing or what?
You have another question from one of your Facebook viewers, and
Okay.
there are more callers, but unfortunately our time is coming to a close today. So callers,
Yeah, we don't do microwave calls, do we, Stacey? They're kind of more in the oven calls, I think.
That's right. That's right. So if you have called in today and you were unable to get in, please join us again next week. We'll be here at the same time, and it's always the same number and the same ID code to enter the waiting room. So we look forward to seeing you then. So John, Olia on Facebook says,
Olia, Olia?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay.
She is asking you if there is a way to overcome a propaganda mindset of a relative of hers who is actively supporting the taking of lives of civilians in Ukraine, while being an active member of the Christian church. She wants to know, what question could she ask to awaken this person?
All right, I need you. You're reading it and I'm listening. She's got a friend who says they're a Christian who wants
Relative. She has a relative,
who wants
Mhm.
Ukrainian citizens to be killed in the
Yes.
this event that with
Yes,
Russia.
she has a relative who is actively supporting the killing of civilians in Ukraine, but is also an active member of the church. And she would like to know what kind of questions she could ask this relative to awaken them.
Gosh, that's brutal. Oh gosh.
Mm-hmm. Hard.
Well, the things that kind of motivate people to change their minds, there's more than one. I mean, you have an advantage because she's a Christian. So you can say, look at your Bible and say about what this says about murder. Because an act of war is okay in the Bible, but you don't see that about murder. It's somebody who's not a soldier and all that. So you have a value system, and I would appeal to that your relative on that. Say, how do you? Give her a couple of passages. Thou shalt not kill, which means murder in the Old Testament. How do you do that? And engage her. Other people appeal to just kind of the grand philosophical themes like love and justice. How can that be just? They're being attacked. So there's the grand philosophical themes of love and justice. There's the Bible, and then there's I think it's only two I would go into, but yeah. What you find out, remember my whole thing about normal, mild, moderate, severe. If a person's normal or mild, they'll go, oh gosh, I read the wrong books. Great, thanks for the insight. Open. Moderate, severe, it's going to be a harder job. And what you find, though, kind of the cool thing about the way that truth and reality go, there are some people, Leah, there are some people that may never admit they're wrong, but the fact that you're shining the light of objective reality, information that's real and healthy, you shine the light on them and they curb their behavior. They restrain their behavior. It's sort of like, when somebody cuts you off on the freeway, I do that. I'm not trying to change their mind. I'm not a rageaholic, but I'm not doing that to feel better. I'm doing that because I think it's training. Like maybe the guy flips me off and says that, oh, the guy in the other car is an idiot. But if enough people do that, he may never admit he's wrong, but he may curb his behavior because the getting honked at is unpleasant. I have no problem. I'd love to say that your relative is going to say, oh, thank you so much. The stars open. This is great. A lot of people don't. But if you're bringing it up, they're a lot more likely to go, oh, Aaliyah noticed it. And I'm saying whatever I want to say. And gosh, she's a healthy person and she's a Christian. Maybe I'll curb my behavior. So we love it that the insight and the ahas happen, but sometimes we're satisfied with grumbling. They're grumbling at us and they're not admitting they're wrong, but they're curbing my behavior. Sometimes that's the win. Thanks for your call. All righty. So like Stacey said, we love doing this. We hope we were helpful. We'll be here next week. And thanks for the good questions and the vulnerability, and especially those of you who are watching this either now or recording. I hope it's helpful to you, and call us in next week. Have a nice week.